Do you enjoy a good time with your fellow brothers and sisters? Do you enjoy the fresh sea breeze? Do you enjoy deep sea fishing? Then Wisdom for the Blind has something just for you. On May 5th, 2023, Wisdom for the Blind has chartered the Double Eagle 3 in Clearwater Beach, Florida for an entire day of fun in the sun and deep sea fishing. Go to w4tv.org and register for this upcoming event. Check out our website and register now. Seats are limited. Please share the wisdom and tell a friend. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show. It's possible and probable that the sight impaired and blind can see the world and play in it, having more fun and with deeper passion than people with sight. Welcome to Insight to Travel, produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. Being blind or sight impaired doesn't mean you don't get out into the world and enjoy it. And that's why we're here. Learn how to travel safely and how to enjoy things in different parts of the world. Let's do this, and let's have some fun. From the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this is Insight to Travel, and this is your host, Benjamin Keeley.
And Keith, thank you very much for that great introduction, as you normally do. And today is our first episode of Insight to Travel, where we bring you all the information you need to know about traveling. And today's guest is a good friend of mine, known each other for a few years. His name is Josh Gordon, and he's the president and CEO of the Gordon Group. Hey, Josh, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Ben. I appreciate it.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. I know we've known each other for a few years.
Yeah, quite a long time, almost 20 years. Ben and I have been friends for a lot of years. I am celebrating actually 25 years in the travel business.
Wow.
I live in Cooper City here in South Florida. I have a wife and a young son. He's turning 4 next month, and we're enjoying everything here and celebrating life. But yeah, January will be 25 years that I've been in the travel business and having a good time.
Well, that's great. Your mom and dad started the business, is that correct?
Yeah, actually, my mother is still here to this day, and so is my father. They're both working full time. He's working remote. She's here in the office, and I think it keeps them young.
Oh, that's good. So,
yeah,
the whole purpose of the show is to give some insight. That's insight to travel about
Sure.
Traveling, especially if you're vision impaired or blind. And a little side personal note: can you tell us about, I believe, your eye issues?
Sure. Yeah, I've had eye issues for about half my life now, actually. Starting at age 16, I ended up with a condition called orbital myositis or orbital pseudotumor, otherwise known, at my various visits at Bascom Palmer as non-idiopathic orbital inflammation of the muscles behind my eyes that push them towards the orbit, and it's very, very, very painful. That actually led me to very, very heavy doses of steroids for many, many years, starting out with 60 milligrams a day for 2 years, and led me to pretty much wreck my system, which caused me to end up being diabetic. And so it leads us to where I am today, which is I've got a small bleed actually in my right eye, but I'm going in for Lucentis shots every 6 weeks for a retinal bleed. So I've gone from one stage of issues to another, but thankfully everything is being maintained, and doing our best to just kind of keep it from getting any worse.
That's good to hear. And little side note, you and I knew each other before I lost my eyesight. We used to play poker together.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Once upon a time. Yep.
I remember we even tried to play poker after I lost my eyesight.
Yeah, I vividly remember. And actually, Silvana was there. She was your eyes.
Yeah. So, you've been with me as a friend during my journey of losing my eyesight because of retina issues and the Agent Orange and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's talk about cruising.
Sure.
What the cruise lines have done to handle, vision impaired and blind and hard of hearing and all those, situations.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. First of all, let's start with I love cruising. It's a passion. Even before I was ever in this industry, took my first cruise when I was 10. I'm now 45. So I've got 35 years under my belt of this experience. And there's no vacation like it. Everything is there at your hands. You pack and unpack once. It takes you everywhere to see the world and experience everything, in every way possible. It's fun. And I love this business. I tell people every single day I'm extraordinarily lucky to be able to say that I love what I do, because not enough people can. I never have to tell anybody they're sick, they're dying, they're broke, they're divorced, they're whatever. It's how can I make your dreams come true?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I love it. The cruise lines, obviously, many where their corporate offices are based in the U.S., have made every stride to maintain ADA compliance and to maintain a safe and fun environment for folks of all abilities. And so they are working every day to make things even better. There are allowances for things like service dogs on board to help with vision and other conditions. There are sizes of various different wheelchair accessible and handicap accessible rooms. There are different cues in the elevator sounds where they used to be all dings. Now they're verbal cues, that tell you where you're getting off, where you're going, how they can make it easier and more accessible for everybody. They are keeping it safe, and they are putting up all the right railings and all the right guidances and all the right touch features to make sure that you guys are going to have an amazing time. They are making it more comfortable with things like large print menus and braille menus and features throughout the ship, whether they're bells and whistles and toys, they're able to be enjoyed by everybody.
I too have a passion for cruising. I've been cruising all my life. I won't let you know that the first cruise I went on was the Emerald Seas, and I think I was 10 years old. So I believe she's now a bunch of razor blades.
I think my parents sailed the Emerald Seas about 30 times. It was their favorite ship for so many years.
It was a beautiful ship. As many of my friends know, I'm a retired captain, and for some reason they don't let me drive ships when you can't see. I don't understand why, but I had to surrender my captain's license, which was, heartening, but I still love to get out on the ocean. And, one of the things that you mentioned, and I'd like, we can talk a little bit about it, is service dogs. Cruise lines have done some great things. If I'm not mistaken, they have some AstroTurf areas and some grass potty pots, I guess, available. Is that correct?
That is. They brought on various, and through a couple of different areas in the ship, usually concentrated in one area. They do have dog relief areas on the ship, and they have a certain amount of space per dog. So depending on how many they've got on board, if they have to bring more on board or make accommodations, they are absolutely able to be made. And so, they've made the environment safe and comfortable for the dogs as well, because, they are, if not more important than we are.
Yeah. That's good to know. So, for our listeners out there that have service dogs, that is available. I know that there's a website that you can go into and actually find out what kind of passport information the dog needs to go and travel. And if you talk to your travel agent, I guess they can talk to the cruise line, and make sure that it's all documented properly.
Sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, Josh, every port's different. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Some will have licensing requirements and vet visit requirements. Some will have fees. Some will not. Some will, unfortunately, some countries just do not allow. And we, of course, maintain a list of the countries that we can work with and ports of call that we can use so that we make sure everybody is able to go where we need to go.
Well, that's great. Now, you had mentioned in your opening that the cruise lines, they have different, things available. One of the things that I found when I was traveling, especially NCL, Carnival, and Royal, is that they have an ambassador now dedicated to accessibility.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. On every sailing. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Almost as though it's a concierge. There is somebody available to make sure that every step of the way you are comfortable, you are given the abilities that you need, and make sure that there's nothing standing in your way. They make sure that they present to you different daily planners and menus and so forth in different formats, whether it be, like we said earlier, large print, braille. They make sure that which floors you need to go to attend certain events. They are there to guide you and to make sure that every reservation, every little detail is helped while on board so that you have an enjoyable experience. And safe. Yeah.
And safe is the key thing, especially when on board a ship.
Absolutely.
So if one of our listeners were to book a cruise, the starting point would be to make sure that the travel agent or the cruise line identifies that you are vision impaired or blind or need some kind of accessibility, so it's documented in the record. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then from there, you can decide if you need a special room that could be fitted for you, a handicap or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your staff is familiar with that and can help any of your listeners and stuff like that.
Thankfully, yes.
To make sure that they can have the best experience possible.
Yeah, thankfully, yes. And anything we don't know up front, we can always find out. I preach to my entire staff, there's nothing wrong with saying, let me find out, because I'd rather get the right answer than just have any answer, right away. I'd rather have the right answer. And that's what we pride ourselves on, is our service, our knowledge, our dedication to making sure the entire experience from day one to the moment you hit home is perfect.
Now, how about dietary? Like if I'm a vegetarian or if I don't eat meat, or like you and I are both diabetics, so yeah. We're not allowed to have that lovely chocolate cake and that double margaritas, right?
Maybe just one bite.
I keep on saying, at least let me smell it.
So, free smells, they don't raise my sugar. Yes, absolutely. There are so many different dietary accommodations that can be made, whether it be diabetic, heart healthy, gluten-free, kosher, halal, etc. Every single aspect. We let the cruise line know ahead of time. Allergies are a big deal, especially in the dining room. We want to make sure that everybody's up front, because God forbid somebody should end up, with a nut allergy and then end up, going into anaphylactic, whatever. We want to make sure that is mitigated and stopped at the source.
So all of that can be documented in the record and managed, is what you're saying. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, great. And if something was to happen, is there a doctor that you can call? Or
yes, there's an entire medical facility on board. Every single ship, there's a full doctor, not just a nurse or nurse practitioner. There is a full medical staff, where some ships are even so full-featured, God forbid you should ever get to this point, that they can perform robotic surgery if necessary. That being said, one of the things we always recommend is insurance. Insurance that we offer does have coverage for medical, which most primary does not cover outside the country. This has medical coverage. It also has emergency evacuation to the nearest hospital that will save your life. And that's the one that really worries me. So that we have coverage, and God forbid we should ever get to that situation, it's there.
Just laughing because I remember my wife and I went on a cruise, and both of us are in the cruise industry, and we missed a ship.
Yeah, that was an expensive cab ride from Spain to Portugal to Spain.
Yeah, I own that taxi now, but insurance is a good thing. But my wife and I have both been in the industry all our life, and we were sitting down having a beer because I had a cast on my leg at the time, and her watch stopped. So that watch and that taxi I own. So it was a good experience. But I remember you harassing me. Every time we went on another cruise, it's like, you're getting the insurance. I'm not even asking you. So.
Yeah, never again.
So that's great. So what we're going to do now, Josh, if you just stand by, we're going to just take a quick break, and we're going to check in with the studio and hear some of the people that help support the Wisdom for the Blind Network. So please stand by.
You got it.
VA's Office of Blind Rehabilitation Services estimates there are approximately 130,000 veterans in the United States who are legally blind. and more than 1 million veterans who have low vision that causes a loss of ability to perform necessary daily activities. In this era of instant communication, where we get overwhelmed with data or facts that are useless to unsighted individuals, wouldn't it be great if we could count on news focused on real problems that impact the daily lives of veterans without sight? Introducing Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, an advanced informational portal designed by blind veterans specifically for blind and vision impaired vets that, like them, are facing challenges every day. Hi, my name is Ben, and I know the frustration. I've struggled in day-to-day tasks for over 20 years since I lost my eyesight. One of my biggest challenges has always been trying to stay up to date with the latest information of my eye disease, local news, and the ever-changing technology. I wanted to be able to have one single site that merged all the data scattered, and that's why we created Wisdom for Blinded Vets. This is a portal that can be accessed via the web, a smartphone app, telephone, email, text messaging, or Amazon's Alexa. It integrates with readers such as JAWS or Apple's VoiceOver and various other tools to give you a seamless experience. This portal will keep us updated on a variety of topics and will share knowledge that can help make our lives easier and more fulfilled. Highlights of the topics covered on the portal include podcasts, events, news, blind rehab and training, information on the BVA and other groups, a list of coordinator and bros list, online groups to interact with fellow vets facing the same challenges, and much more. Give us a try. You will not be disappointed. To learn more about us, visit our website www.w4bv.org. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge, please consider becoming a contributor by logging into our portal and going to the contributor section for more information. Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, transforming blind veterans' lives.
Are you a big geek? Do you enjoy learning about new technology? Then join us on the fourth Thursday of every month for the Wisdom Geek Club at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, hit up w4tb.org and click on the Geek Club button on the main page. And don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show, and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
And we're back. Josh, thanks for hanging out with us, man. It's been great.
Thing. Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
So I'd like to get into one of the great, things that I find when I'm cruising. I love to cruise and spend time out to sea is, can you talk about some of the islands and places, the destinations, and, what makes it so great to cruise versus, get in an airplane?
Sure, absolutely. It's first of all, there's a great big world out there, whether it be the Caribbean or various other parts of the world, whether it be Europe, the Mediterranean, Scandinavia, Russia. Ships go to Alaska, they go to Australia, New Zealand, Asia, and even India. They're going around South Africa, they're going around South America. They're all over the place. And what's nice is that, like I said earlier, you pack and unpack once. You have basically a floating hotel. Your meals are included and your entertainment is included. And overnight, you go to bed one night and you're in, just for the Caribbean, you go to bed one night, you're in Roatan, Honduras, and the next day you wake up and you're in Costa Maya, Mexico. And in Europe, you go to sleep one night and you're leaving Rome or, Civitavecchia, which is the port of call for Rome, and you wake up the next day and you're in Athens. So it's a nice way to see lots of different places without the burden of, again, packing, unpacking, moving from city to city, ground transportation, etc. And each of these places, depending on where in the world we are and how things are able to be done, most of them are accessible. They've got facilities, they've got ramps and railings and different means to get around and make sure that everybody is, again, safe and comfortable and getting to experience, as much as possible.
I find that the cruising, especially, because I do have, my eyesight issue, I find it to be great because I walk around the ship, there's a rail, and I can actually be independent a little bit more than normal. I find that the elevators, the newer ships are well, they have these smart elevators now that talk to you, and they have, braille and everything else. So I really feel at ease, with being vision impaired and, blind in my right eye there.
Sure.
So tendering, I know the Caymans. Can you talk a little bit about tendering?
Sure. Yeah. Now, tendering, most of these ports were able to dock right at a pier. Docking right at a pier, you roll off the ship or you walk off the ship onto the pier, you walk into town, roll into town, and you have easy access. Some of them, such as Grand Cayman, we need to tender. And tendering involves the use of the lifeboats from the ship where they take you by boat from the ship to the port of call. Grand Cayman is a great example because they have the largest coral reef outside of the Great Barrier Reef. And so the ships cannot pull in close enough without destroying the entire ecology of that system. So the smaller boats obviously are, have a lower draft, and so they are able to get in and bring it to port. Rolling off of those, again, is fairly easy. You walk into town, and I love Grand Cayman. Grand Cayman is one of my favorite islands in the Caribbean. Everybody is extraordinarily friendly. I always joke. I say they've got a lot of money there, so they don't need to be pushy. They're genuinely welcoming, and I've never had a bad experience in Grand Cayman.
I agree with you. I love the Caymans. I was the first time I went to the Caymans, I was 10 years old, and I learned to scuba dive by the first dive operation out there, which Bob Pseudo, and it was off the Holiday Inn on the beach there, and
on 7 Mile Beach with the blue pipeline.
Yeah. I love scuba diving, and that's where I started when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, that's one of the first areas I've gone snorkeling and had a significant, got to see real sea life. I was probably 12 or 13 years old and got to really take it all in versus, the beaches of Fort Lauderdale when you see a crab or whatever. But out there, it was like real, the things that you see on TV and movies and so forth.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. I remember there's a place there called Turtle Farm, and there's a mini wall right off of Turtle Farm, and there was a lot of barracuda, and we went out there. So, it was great diving, and like you said, the people are great, and that was the first time that I had the opportunity to go to hell.
Yeah. Between Grand Cayman and Michigan, you got two opportunities.
So, hell is a little part of the island, and they actually have a post office there, and you can send a postcard from hell. So it's pretty cute, but it's a beautiful island. But talk to me about kids. Is there anything for kids to do on cruise ships?
Yeah. Actually, I have a son who's about to turn 4 next month, and we just came off of his first cruise. And the facilities on board, in each of these lines, obviously, even the lines that don't really cater to families, they still have kids' facilities. But a lot of these lines, whether it be Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian, Disney, are really family focused, and so they really emphasize the kids programs. And those programs are outrageous. We sent him each night. We kept him during the day because we wanted him to see the ports and islands and whatever. We didn't ditch him, but at night, if we wanted to go out after dinner, we brought him to the kids club. He didn't want to come back. He like refused to leave. He was having the time of his life. For kids of all ages, some lines start as young as 6 months. Some lines require 3 years in potty train. So it depends on the line, and we can, of course, work with that and see who's got the right facilities and who's got the right features. But they've got kids broken up into various age groups and different activities and games and pizza parties and arcades and this and that and all different fun things going on. In fact, we were getting off the cruise the other day. We were welcoming my son, and we're getting him dressed and ready because we were going to drop him off at school on our way to work. And we said, all right, buddy, we're ready to go. He says, all right. He says, I'll go to school. He says, but I want to go on my second cruise after school. I said, okay. I said, we can work with that.
Wow.
So, and yeah, the family and kids facilities are tremendous.
It's so true. I have a 10-year-old, and she loves cruising. She's been on more cruises than you can imagine. And she just loves, all the different activities, the super slides and the roller coasters. And so you also mentioned a little earlier about entertainment. Is there entertainment included?
Yeah, the entertainment is great, especially nowadays. It's evolved over the years. It used to be cruise ship entertainment was kind of cheesy, and those who couldn't make it, ended up on ships. I used to laugh. I would watch American Idol, and the big knock that Simon Cowell would always give somebody auditioning is you sound like you belong on a cruise ship. And these days, it's a whole nother monster. They're bringing on everybody's trying to outdo each other, so they're bringing on name brand shows. For instance, on the ship that we're going on, the Harmony of the Seas, they have Grease, and it's not just a production of Grease. I've seen Grease in Broadway. This was on par with what I've seen on Broadway. They really had a fantastic cast. But each of these guys are bringing on name brand shows. They're bringing on various different types of entertainment. A lot of cruise lines are bringing on game shows, or they're bringing on jazz artists and different acoustic guitars and different things in different venues all throughout the ship. The ship I just came off of this weekend, we had the big show in the main theater. We had above it was the Star Lounge, where it was more of a small 5-piece band. You had a guy playing acoustic guitar in the pub. You had up in the nightclub, of course, you had dancing and music. But even earlier than that, they were doing karaoke. But there is a wealth of things to do that will keep you going. You will never be bored on these facilities. Even if they're running movies, they have those as well. They've got a lot of things. In fact, a lot of these ships now have various giant screens over the pool. So they're running different times of the day, whether they're running a movie, whether they're running cartoons for the kids, whether they're running, if we're going during football season, they may be running whatever the big game is for Sunday night. They've got all sorts of things going on for every taste.
That's so true. And, I just got back myself from a cruise, and, they had great entertainment, and not only in the main entertainment lounge, but they had different activities going on from a comedy club and everything else all throughout the ship. Yep. And, they had a big sports bar playing all kinds of football games on Sunday. It was, a lot of things to do. And, of course, if you don't like the entertainment, there's always the casino.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a casino.
I did well this weekend. Doesn't happen all the time, but this weekend I did well.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the ships, I know Disney does, and a few of the others, Carnival, I think, has Dr. Seuss. They all have characters for the kids.
Yeah, a lot of them do. Those two in particular do. Some of them used to. Royal Caribbean used to have a deal with DreamWorks, and Norwegian used to have a deal with Nickelodeon. Those have since lapsed, but they still got things going on. But yeah, Disney, of course, has their characters, and various lines do have different things going on throughout. It would be interesting. You'd be walking down the hall, and all of a sudden you see Goofy. And Goofy's my man, So I'm the kid at that point. But
that's cool. So, just a side note. So, if one of our listeners wanted to find out more information about it, could they call one of your cruise reps there and get some information? And how would they do that?
Absolutely, yeah. We are here. We're based in South Florida. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern time. We do feel that our people should go enjoy their families on the weekends. But we are here whenever anybody is in need. Our phone number here is 800-382-4298. My extension directly is 206 in case anybody wants to call me if they're bored. But also, you can feel free to email the office. Our main office email is travel@thegordongroup, TheGordongroup.com. My direct email is josh@thegordongroup.com.
And what makes the Gordon Group a little different than other people? Can you get better rates, or are they the same rates as before? Or?
Yeah, of course. Depending on the sailings, we always look for the best rates. We always are after finding the best of what we can offer the clients within the realm of what they're eligible for, of course. If you're only 30 and you're looking for a senior rate, unfortunately, that doesn't work. But no, oftentimes we will have various group rates. We have our partners of Signature Travel Network, which we are co-owners of our consortium, have put together lots of different groups and fairs and marketing opportunities that help us present the best product out there for the best value. As far as the Gordon Group, we pride ourselves on service and knowledge. We actually started out of my father's retirement. My dad was 40 and he retired. He was a stockbroker, and he was very, very successful, and retired partially because he could, and partially because he had to, because the stock brokerage industry was very, very stressful. In fact, I was in his office the day of the crash in '87, and I've never seen anything like it. I still remember I was 10, and I'll remember it to this day. But he started the business out of My dad is very type A, and so he never had anybody who would do things the way that he did it. Very service and knowledge, and dot every I and cross every T, and make sure everything is perfect. And so we started on that basis, and we've just grown. 30 years now, as of last month, that we've been in business, and we are still thriving even after the last couple of years. We're still here.
It's amazing, being in the industry. Also, never thought that the cruise industry would close down, but it came back, and the cruise lines, a lot of people are concerned, well, should I get back on a ship because of COVID and all this other stuff? I believe the cruise industry has stepped up to the plate, has managed it well, and is now just a very safe environment for, we have a lot of veterans that are, getting up there, and a lot of health concerns. Personally, I felt myself very, very safe, and especially the criteria that the cruise line puts in. Can you talk just a little about, some of that, and how you feel about, the safety that the lines have stepped up to the plate with?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, if anything, that's what we've seen a lot of over the last couple of years. They've gone through extraordinary measures, whether it be limiting capacity, limiting touch points, limiting space and the amount of area that events are happening, timing. Obviously, things that they are no longer instituting, things such as vaccination requirements and masks and so forth. But those things that were in place over the last couple of years to get us to this point, they're no longer under the auspice of the CDC as far as what rules they need to fall under for COVID regulation. But they learned so much from that they've got enough experience now after the last couple of years that it feels extraordinarily safe. It feels like everything is moving smoothly, and they know. Look, I tell everybody it's a house of cards. They know that if God forbid they have one big outbreak, the whole thing comes down, and they have mitigated the entire situation to make it safe and comfortable and easy to do without hindering the experience. They've really stepped up to the plate, and it shows.
Now, we talked about the health safety, but also how about the times are rough in some countries right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is the cruise line always monitoring that to make sure that the ship and the passengers are always safe?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And I've experienced that myself. Of course, they're a couple times actually. No, they're monitoring safety both on the ground as well as globally. And I say that with respect to, we were supposed to visit a country. Once upon a time, I give this story frequently, but there was a country that when we were supposed to visit was known as the kidnapping capital of the world. And so as we're getting close to the day where we were supposed to visit that port on the itinerary, even before the cruise, they ended up changing the itinerary because they don't want to take anybody's safety in harm's way. I was sailing to Israel, and we were supposed to dock in Ashdod for 2 days before we docked in Haifa for a day, 3 days in Israel. And the captain gets on the speaker at 11 o'clock at night, and he says, there's been an incident in the port. There's been rocket fire in the port. Of course, we know you guys are all here to see Israel. So we're going to dock in Haifa for 3 days. It'll take you an extra hour and a half each way to go see everything you came to see in Jerusalem, but you'll get to see everything you came to see, and we did. I swam in the Dead Sea. I climbed Masada. I saw this and that. I got to experience it because they were keeping safety at hand and making sure that there's never an incident, never anything to be worried about. But they are on top of things in every single port and every single day.
That's good to know. On top of that, they also have their own shore excursions, which even makes it even safer. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I often recommend, when we talk about excursions, my first answer is always book through the cruise line. We do have companies we work with outside the cruise line, but my first answer is always book through the cruise line for a couple of reasons. Number one, of course, if God forbid you get held up, the cruise line knows that you're not there and that they're waiting for you to come back. If you end up sitting at a cafe having beer and your watch dies, they don't know where you are, and the ship could potentially and has potentially left without you.
No.
So we do recommend booking through the cruise line just for timing. A great example, we were on a New Year's cruise, and there was a rock slide in Jamaica. And we had friends who were on an excursion, and they could not get around the rock slide, and so it took an extra couple hours, and the ship was held. If they were booked privately, it's possible they may hold the ship, but I can't guarantee that they would. So there's that. But also, the cruise line does their due diligence. They vet all of these suppliers, their vendors, people who are running any of these particular excursions. A lot of them, like you said, are run by the cruise line. If not, they're run by suppliers who are hired by the cruise line, but they've done all the research to make sure that everything is safe and licensed and bonded and doing it the right way.
And the other thing is, most of the major cruise lines, I believe, in the Caribbean, don't they have their own outer islands now?
A lot of them do, yes. So you got various different cruise lines. Royal Caribbean has two actually. Royal Caribbean has Labadee, which is an island off the coast of Hispaniola, off the coast of Haiti. It's part of Haiti, but it's a separate island. And then they've got Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which they used to be. It used to be Little Stirrup Cay, then it was Coco Cay, and now it's Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and that's the official name. And they put $250 million into renovating this into a true destination. It's like nothing I've ever seen before in my 25 years in the business. People are actually requesting cruises just based on the fact that they're visiting Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Norwegian has Great Stirrup Cay, the Holland America has Half Moon Cay, and Princess has Princess Cay, and Disney has Castaway Cay. Everybody's got a private island. Yeah, and some of them, I'm honest. I always say it's a big fancy beach with a barbecue. Some of them, they've got a lot going on. Disney has all their Disney features because they won't do anything halfway. But like they have the actual ships that they used in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman are off the coast of Castaway Cay, and just to see them like sitting there is a pretty neat sight.
Yeah, and MSC has a nice island too.
They do. I have not visited yet, but I hear it's amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. We went on it. That was the first cruise that we actually got upgraded, and we had the yacht club status.
The yacht club.
Yeah, we had a butler, and it was real great. Mr. Keeley, would you like me to take your daughter? Sure. And we had a little gazebo out by the pool, and I just sat there all day long, and it was just awesome. But it's not only MSC; it's Royal Caribbean and Carnival. Everybody's got all kinds of things to do, and it's great.
And you mentioned the yacht club, and that's actually another great thing to think about. Is the yacht club it's on the MSC ships. So MSC ships are part of the contemporary market. They're meant for families and various multi-generational establishments. But they've got the yacht club, which is their luxury experience within an experience. So I often compare it to the Four Seasons in Vegas as the top 4 floors of the Delano next to the Mandalay. And so it's a luxury hotel within a hotel. Here, the yacht club is a luxury area within the MSC ships. Norwegian has the Haven. Celebrity has the Retreat. Royal Caribbean has their lofts. Now they're changing the name of it. I forgot what the new name is that they're doing for the Icon, but they're changing it's their suite neighborhood. So everybody's got these luxury experiences so you can get away from the masses where each of these clubs, these suite experiences, have their own dining, their own clubs, their own lounges, their own pool, their own their own gym, whatever. So you can enjoy a refined experience, but still go see the rest of the ship and play with the bells and the whistles and the toys and so forth.
And the ships nowadays are like mini cities. There's just so much to do, and they're so fabulous.
Yeah.
One last question before we take a break there is, when's a good time to travel, and can you get a good deal on a transatlantic?
Yeah, there's different times of travel for different parts of the world. If we're looking at Europe, for instance, Europe and Alaska, typically summertime is going to be peak season. June, July, August are the peak months. If you go in May or September, it's what they call the shoulder seasons. You probably get a little bit better value, a little bit less money, probably a little cooler because it does get very, very hot over the summer in Europe, and a little bit easier to get around. If we're looking at the Caribbean, typically, again, what we get is a lot of people tend to come to the Caribbean in the winter and spring. They want to get away. If not everybody lives down here in Florida like we do, so a lot of people in Chicago and New York and DC and Washington and so forth, they want to get away from that cold. They want something to look forward to. They do come over the summer when the kids are off of school, and there are still a couple of ships here, but most of them are heading off to Europe and Alaska where it's peak season for those areas, away from hurricane season, things like that. But yeah, there are different times of the year for different parts of the world, and there are definitely values to be had. Transatlantic is always interesting because those prices are often so low to begin with. It's kind of hard to compare transatlantic to anything else because they are a value product that starts low and tends to increase. But yeah, we can always watch for different deals and things going on.
I enjoyed it, transatlantic. My wife thought she was going to kill me, but
you really have to like whoever you're doing transatlantic.
But it was actually beautiful. 5 days at sea. It was just a great experience. And then there's all kinds of other discounts, over 65, military, Florida resident, and it's up to the cruise consultant that you work with to make sure that they know all of those. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's what we're here for, is to ask those questions, to make sure that we have you ready to get whatever promotions you're eligible for, whether it be past passengers or senior specials or state residents or military or all the other different things that they're offering. Everybody's got something going on. Sometimes it's a general promotion where, Black Friday. Right now, a lot of the Black Friday promotions are opening up, but like Royal Caribbean opened up theirs today for past passenger. Not to, everybody else gets to do it on Monday. So there's different things that we're watching for all the time, and typically it's not just in the initial booking process, but if there's something for which you are eligible between now and up until a certain point where the cruise line cuts you off from changing prices, then we are always watching for it. So for instance, a lot of cruise lines will actually stop allowing you to take any price reductions at final payment. So a final payment for a cruise is due 90 to 100 days prior to the sailing. Then that's the point. Once you hit final, you're cut off. If the price goes down after that, you can either pay more, to take something higher that's now a reduced rate, so something that's a good value for you, but they won't let you take a price reduction on your existing stuff.
Sounds good.
Before that date, we watch for it all the time. That's what we're here for.
That's perfect. And that's the benefit of working with a cruise consultant versus trying to do it yourself, watching on the internet for the good deal.
Yeah.
You guys are watching that and getting the notifications from the lines all the time. Well, we're going to take another break, but if I'm not mistaken, Josh, I think we have some exciting news for our listeners when we come back.
Sounds good.
All right. Stand by, guys.
Do you enjoy a good time with your fellow brothers and sisters? Do you enjoy the fresh sea breeze? Do you enjoy deep sea fishing? Then Wisdom for the Blind has something just for you. On May 5th, 2023, Wisdom for the Blind has chartered the Double Eagle 3 in Clearwater Beach, Florida for an entire day of fun in the sun and deep sea fishing. Go to w4tv.org and register for this upcoming event. Check out our website and register now. Seats are limited. Please share the wisdom and tell a friend.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. The Lifeline works. You are not alone in crisis. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
And we're back. Thank you very much for sticking with us, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate Josh, you sticking with us and also being able to see you again. It's been a while.
Been a long time.
One thing that before the break I thought about and I wanted to talk about is, I started cruising like you and I talked about on the Emerald Seas, and then went on the Sun Viking and the Dolphin 4. And those are all nice, small ships, few hundred passengers. Now you got these mega ships. But the cruise lines have a mixture, some big ships, some medium ships. And then you got different lines. And then you got, like Royal Caribbean, the Oasis class, and the Harmony of the Sea, and those ships. Can you tell the difference, or is there just so much to do, or the whole realm? And are you a number, or are you a passenger?
Yeah. So there's definitely very, very different experiences in the industry, definitely depending on the the line we're on, depending on the ship we're on, depending on the market we're in, and so forth. So most of what we've talked about today has been involving what we call the contemporary market, or some of them reaching up to the premium market, which would be the higher end of the contemporary market. So these are bigger ships. Most of the large ships these days range anywhere from about 90,000 tons to 230,000 tons, which is a very, very big spread. But those ships, the 90,000 ton ships, will typically hold somewhere around 1,900 to 2,200 passengers. The Gigunta ships, are going to hold upwards of 6,100 passengers. In fact, Royal Caribbean just announced a brand new ship that's coming out next year, in 24, that is going to have, it's going to be 250,000 tons, and it's going to hold at maximum capacity 7,500 passengers. One of the nice things about what they've done is I always lightly call it their civil engineering, is that it never feels like there are that many people on board. The Oasis was the first ship to hold over 5,000 passengers. I always said it never felt like there were 5,000 passengers. They got 7 different neighborhoods on the ship, and there are different things going on throughout the ship. So it's not like everybody's all lined up for one particular feature. There's so many things going on that everybody's spread around, whether it be different restaurants, whether it be different fun facilities, things to do. As you go out of the contemporary market, you get into the deluxe market and the luxury market, and now we go down in size, massively down in size for these ships themselves. The deluxe market is going to be most notably marked by lines like Oceania and Azamara and Viking and a couple others, where they are smaller ships, typically ranging from 30 to 60,000 tons, ranging from 684 to 1,250 passengers. Now we're talking a much, much smaller experience, a better attention to food and service, and the room size, getting more space per person, what they call passenger space ratio, where you have more personal space based on the amount of people on board compared to the gross tonnage, the size of the ship that's based on displacement. So the size of the ship with a certain amount of people, you get personal space, and of course you're also going to get a higher crew to guest ratio, or lower actually ratio. So you want it to be where there's as many crew as possible to each passenger. So you've got that going on. Then you get into the luxury market, where now ships are holding 300, 400, 500 passengers, and they step it up in terms of the food. Really is just beyond, but also the all-inclusiveness of the product, whether they're including the drinks, the gratuities, the Wi-Fi, the excursions, for some of these lines, things like that, where they're throwing them in for the value of the cruise. It becomes a really tremendous value.
Well, that's great to know. So it's true to say that no matter what kind of vacation you like, if you want to go to Europe, you want to go to the Caribbean, you want to go on a river cruise, they can talk to one of your cruise consultants and they can help them find the right package for them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we love doing, is actually getting to talk to people, getting to know people. We have relationships with our clients, so that we know that we're putting you on the right product. You may have $1 billion, but it doesn't mean you have to go in the luxury market if that's not the right product for you. You may want to go and do something fun on a giant Royal Caribbean ship. There's something for everybody.
Great. So is there anything that we didn't cover before we get into our exciting news that you think the listeners would be interested in hearing?
I think they want to hear about the exciting news.
Oh, okay.
I'm excited. I think we've pretty much covered a lot of the industry. And of course, if anybody has any questions or wants to know more, like I said, I'm always open.
The exciting news that we want to talk about is that the Gordon Group and Wisdom for the Blind have put together an exciting opportunity coming up in 2023, actually October 15th, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be hosting our first Wisdom Forum at Sea on board one of the Royal Caribbean's newer ships, the Harmony of the Seas. Josh, tell us a little about that ship and what's going to be so exciting besides being able to be with your brothers and sisters and some of the other activities that we're going to be doing.
Sure, absolutely. So the ship is the Harmony of the Seas from Royal Caribbean. It's only a few years old. It is one of those Gigunta ships. So it will hold about, if they fill it up, which they have not filled things quite yet, it'll hold about 6,100 passengers. But again, it never feels like that. They've got more things going on board, whether it be ice skating and rock climbing and zip lines and a dry slide that goes down 9 stories from the sports deck all the way down to their boardwalk. They have 7 different neighborhoods on the ship, including their boardwalk neighborhood, which is a full featured boardwalk with shops and a carousel and actually what they have at the back of that called Aqua Theater. Aqua Theater is a show that they run through various times on the ship. It's actually the deepest pool at sea. It's 27 feet deep. And I often tell people there's a show in Vegas called O, which is one of the Cirque du Soleil shows, where 1 minute they're running across the stage, and this thing has raising and lowering platforms. 1 minute somebody's running across the stage, and the next minute somebody's diving right through it. So those shows are going to be outrageous. And that's Boardwalk. If we go midship up a couple floors, they have Central Park, and Central Park is winding sidewalks with foliage and restaurants and bars and shops and things like that. We go down a couple floors, which there's actually a feature in Central Park called Rising Tide, which is a elevator that's an entire bar. And it goes up and down between Rising Tide and a few floors down into what they call their Royal Promenade. Royal Promenade is going to be running, it's a fully paved city street running through the ship, where they got different, again, restaurants and bars and pizza and things going on where you can congregate. Everybody hangs out, everybody has a good time, and they take in all the different features. They happens to be that the Harmony is where they're running Greece right now, so they've got various ships going on throughout the sailing, but Greece is the big one. Various shows and entertainment. They've got 4 massive pools on the pool deck, various different activities. Some are going to be for relaxing, some are going to be for sports, some are going to be for kids, where they got a splash pad and an H2O zone, as they call it, things going on for kids. They've got just a wealth of things going on. They've got restaurants on board. They've got a steakhouse called Chops, which is excellent. They've got an Italian restaurant called Giovanni's Table, which is actually where I had my first date with my wife. They've got a restaurant on board called Wonderland, which is very whimsical. It's all about the presentation and very, very different from anything you've probably seen on land. They've got their main dining room, which of course always has excellent food and varied choices. It's going to be a fun experience. I'm really excited for the opportunity and all the things I know that you guys are planning to make sure that it's an amazing trip.
And we're excited too. So Wisdom for the Blind's put together, we call it the Insight Series. And it's going to be, 12 workshops, everything from fitness to health to technology. We're going to introduction to Braille, cooking. For the kids, we got basically skills how to play video games using the special remotes for the vision and blind. So there's all kinds of exciting things. And we're going to be holding the first Wisdom at Sea Olympics. And we got great activities. The pool luge, where you're going to go down this. They have one of the largest water slides, if I'm not mistaken, there. Mm-hmm. And they have the dry slide, and there's going to be competition on how fast you get down there. You guys are going to lose because I'm going to beat everybody down there because I'm a big boy. There's going to be shuffleboard. There's all kinds of great activities, ice skating. And on top of that, we got 3 great general sessions. We have a surprise keynote speaker that's going to be talking about some, accessibility technology that's coming out. So it's all about learning at sea and having fun at the same time. It's going to a few great ports. You want to talk about the ports there, Josh?
Sure thing. So we'll be taking off out of Miami on October 15th of 2023. And we've actually got our first day is going to be at sea, which we have 3 days at sea on this itinerary. I'm sorry, 2 days, pardon me. 2 days at sea on this itinerary, which is nice because you're going to need it to take in a ship this size. It is still one of the largest ships at sea, and there are so many things going on that you don't want to miss anything. We are going to be visiting Roatan, which of course is in Honduras. We are going to be visiting Costa Maya, which is one of the ports in Mexico, a small resort town. We're going to be visiting Cozumel, which is one of the big ports in the Caribbean, where they've got everything from shopping and exploring to going and checking out the Mayan ruins to swimming with dolphins, all sorts of things going on in each of these ports. And then we've got another day at sea, so our second day. And then, of course, we visit Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which I mentioned earlier is that private island with, just a massive amount of things going on, whether it be a water park and different restaurants, cabanas. They got a giant hot air balloon that's attached to the island. So you get 360-degree views of everything. They've got a huge amount of things going on there. Coming back to Miami on the 22nd of October.
That's great. And if I'm not mistaken, I know for a fact we've got the ability to bring service dogs, and we got the paperwork, basically what you're going to need to do to get into Mexico and Honduras.
And the Bahamas as well, because Coco Cay is Bahamas. Yes.
That's right, and the Bahamas. So we'll be able to guide you on that information. So not only are we going to a lot of great ports, we got a lot of great opportunity to get some education while you're at sea. And it's not all about classes, because at nighttime, there's going to be some great shows. There's comedy shows and musicals and all kinds of things. And there's clubs. You can go to the disco. And
nightclubs, the casino, like you mentioned.
You'll see me. Yeah, the casino. And at the disco, I'm going to be having my silk shirt and my leisure suit and my afro. And you'll see me with my walker. So service dogs, there's scooter capability if you need a scooter. So there's all kinds of great things. And how's the pricing on that there, Josh?
So the pricing, starts at about, inside cabins are running about $602 per person plus taxes. And we have things going all the way up through ocean view cabins, which have windows, we have balconies, we have junior suites, larger suites, and each level, has, we've got lots of availability throughout the ship. They actually even have balconies overlooking the inside of the ship now, which still open up to fresh air, which is nice, but it gives kind of a different, people watching and a different kind of atmosphere for those. Some people love them, some people don't, but definitely something to think about. It's a neat feature. We've got cabins of all types running on this ship, and it should be great. It's a little bit of something for everybody.
So if that's something that interests you, you can go to w4tb.org, look for the little section down at the bottom that says Form at Sea. Hit that little button, you can get in there. You can see all the Olympics, all the classes, and there's a link that talks about the cruise prices. We've set up some relationships for pre and post hotels if we need that for if you're traveling from out of town. Josh's team can help you with the travel if you need that. And we have parking and shuttles. So there's all kinds of things thought about. If that interests you, they can also call you. Is that correct, Josh?
Absolutely, yeah. Please feel free to reach out, whether it be through Wisdom for the Blind or directly to us, and we'll make sure that we hold your hand and make, dot every I, cross every T, and make sure everything is perfect for you.
All right. Well, it's been a great hour, Josh. It's good catching up with you and sharing this exciting news. And if our guests wanted to join us, it's going to be a great time. All they got to do is call you and say, "Show me the wisdom."
That's it. We're looking forward to it. We're here.
Anything you want to say, Josh?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Hoping everybody is well and is ready for the holiday season. Wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, New Year's, the works. I'm hoping everybody has a great year.
I appreciate it. And the same to you and your family. Right now, once again, I want to thank you, Josh, and for your time. I'm going to turn it over to Ellie. She's going to give you the latest happening in the newsroom. And then we'll see you next time on Insight to Travel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I took a musket ball in Chancellorsville.
Hi, I'm Mike Byer, Executive Director for Operation Song, where we pair Nashville's songwriters with veterans, active duty military, and their families to tell their stories through the process of songwriting. Our services are 100% free, and songwriting or musical talent is not required. For more information, check us out at operationsong.org. If you think this is something you're interested in, email us at contact@operationsong.org.
Till the last Monday in May.
Do you enjoy a good read? Or do you enjoy sharing new books with friends? Then join us on the second Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wisdom Books, a virtual book club just for the blind or visually impaired. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, go to w4tb.org and click the link Wisdom Books for more information. And please don't forget to share the wisdom.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show, and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
Thank you, Ben, and to our listeners, thank you for dropping in today to the 5-Minute Flash, where we bring you up-to-date knowledge of hot topics. Now to our first story. In January 2023, the VA launched a new life insurance program called Veterans Affairs Life Insurance, VA Life, which provides guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance coverage to veterans age 80 and under, with any level of service-connected disability. Some veterans age 81 and older may also be eligible. To get more information on this new benefit, go to the w4tb.org website. Next, sometimes no matter what we do, we just can't make ends meet. Times are tight, and food is expensive. Soldiers' Angels, a national nonprofit organization headquartered in San Antonio, Texas, helps fight hunger in the veteran community through the Veteran Food Distribution Program. Every month, Soldiers Angels hosts food distributions in 6 cities across the country: Atlanta, Charleston, Denver, Detroit, Orlando, and San Antonio. These easy, no-hassle events provide more than 200 veterans with some 75 pounds of nutritious produce, meat and non-perishables, representing 2 weeks of quality meals for a family of 4. Soldiers Angels also provide seasonal menus for such holidays as Thanksgiving and Christmas. Check out w4bv.org in the affiliate section for more information on this organization. In sports, the soccer star Edson Arantes do Nascimento, known around the world as Pelé, has died at 82. He was battling complications from colon cancer and had been admitted into a hospital in Sao Paulo last month. One of his daughters, Keeley Nascimento, announced his death on Instagram, showing a picture of his family's hands holding his hand. "Everything we are is thanks to you. We love you infinitely. Rest in peace." Now let's review some upcoming events. Wisdom for the Blind is excited to announce 4 upcoming events. First, W4TB will be at the Vision Awareness Day Expo held in the Villages February 25, 2023. For more information, go to w4tb.org. Next, Wisdom for the Blind will be hosting 2 luncheons with some great speakers in Ocala and Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in the first quarter of 23. Please plan to attend and meet fellow veterans. Check the website for more information. To help us celebrate our first-year anniversary, Wisdom for the Blind will throw a party on May 4th, then with a special Feel 2Sea experience event by going deep-sea fishing on board the Double Eagle 3, sailing out of Clearwater Beach, Florida on May 5th. 2023. Finally, Wisdom for the Blind will be hosting Wisdom Forum at Sea, a cruise to the Caribbean. This event will present workshops, new technology reviews, songwriting sessions with our partners at operationsong.org, the Wisdom Games, team building exercises, and much more on October 15th of 2023. If you are interested in future events that Wisdom for the Blind will be hosting, or if you want more information, please visit our site w4tb.org. To our listeners, please remember that if you have any kind of feedback, you can always email them to feedback@w4tb.org. This has been Ellie from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Back to you, Ben.
Hi, I'm Christina Hepner.
And I'm Leslie Hoskins, and we're hosts of the Taking the Lead podcast from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Our podcast provides insight into the blindness community and impactful stories from our clients.
At Leader Dog, we continue to be the answer for thousands who need our free services. These include guide dog training, white cane training, and more. Once clients complete training, they're reintroduced to a life of safety and independence.
Learn more at leaderdog.org.
What's more perfect than exploring new cultures while soaking up the sun and dipping your toes in turquoise waters? Doing these things with your family and, of course, your brothers and sisters from Wisdom for the Blind. Wisdom for the Blind is pleased to announce its first Caribbean Forum to be held on board Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. This dreamy vacation will be filled with thrilling experiences such as surfing, rock climbing, and even an electrifying 10-story plunge in the tallest slide at sea. This is not your average family getaway. There's fun and entertainment for all ages, but you'll also have learning workshops in technology and medical breakthroughs focused on the blind and vision impaired. We will sail from beautiful Miami on October 15th, 2023, visiting fabulous ports: Rotan in Honduras, Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and Royal Caribbean's private island, Coco Cay in the Bahamas. Add 2 spectacular days at sea, and while connecting with people that may experience the same challenges you do, you'll find unforgettable activities, make lasting memories, and soar to new heights. You'll learn about fascinating cultures and customs while tasting local delicacies and lounging in luxury. Wisdom for the Blind has also partnered with Operation Song, so you can have the opportunity to tell your service stories through songwriting. All of this and more starts at just $602 per person, based on double occupancy plus taxes and fees of $168. So what are you waiting for? Pack up your stuff, gather the crew, and head out on the open seas. You and your family will be talking about it for many years to come. Don't miss this great opportunity. Go to w4tb.org and find the button that says Caribbean Forum, or email us at forum@w4tb.org and book now. Space is limited. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Ellie, thank you very much, and it was a pleasure, Josh, to have you with us, and thanks for your time. We hope to see everybody on the Wisdom Forum Cruise on October 15th. This has been for Wisdom for the Blind Studios.
You've been listening to Insight to Travel, produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. Being blind or sight impaired doesn't mean you can't get out into the world, travel, experience life, and have a blast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, visit the website at w4tb.org. Be safe, and we'll see you next time on Insight to Travel. Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's w4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind.
You're listening to Wisdom for the Blind Radio, W4TV, from the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the home of the Wisdom for Blinded Kids portal. Please enjoy the show, and don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.